The movie starts as different people are prepping in front of a mirror and touching up their appearances and encouraging themselves. Then a mysterious windowless room appears and it happens to have 8 seats and tables with a paper and a pencil placed on each table. Each paper has a candidate and a corresponding number on it. The room opens as the candidates get into the room and take a seat quietly. A sharply dressed man, known as the Invigilator, enters the room with an armed guard. He stresses the importance of his words, discussing the challenges candidates have overcome to reach this final test for a prestigious company. The candidates must answer one question under strict rules. No communication with him or the guard, no spoiling their paper, or leaving the room. The Invigilator tells them not respecting these rules results in disqualification and asks the candidates if there are any questions, trying to trick them into communicating with him, and fails as no one falls for it. Then he wishes them good luck and starts the digital clock in the room as he is leaving the room. The candidates turn the paper over only to discover that it's completely blank. Confusion sets in as they double-check if it's just a single page. Their frustration mounts as the clock continues to tick. One candidate takes matters into her own hands and starts writing about why she believes she's the perfect fit for the job. The camera zooms in on her writing, the guard receives a signal, and she's promptly escorted out of the room despite her pleas for another chance. Later, another candidate realizes they were never instructed not to communicate with each other. The tension eases as they all come to this realization. Working together, they understand that they must decipher the question on their own, as they are in fierce competition for the job. As one candidate attempts to introduce himself, he's interrupted by another, leading to the decision to use race and appearance-based names instead of real names. Brown, black, white and deaf are the names given to the men, while blonde, brunette, and dark are the names chosen for the women. White tells the group to pay attention to the unsaid and realizes they can move freely. He stands up, while the guard stays put, much to everyone's delight. Brunette suspects the questions are written in invisible ink or with a watermark. They agree to test the theory but are unsure how to proceed. Dark leads the way, using the room's lights to check for hidden writing on her paper, but finds nothing. She suggests everyone check their papers, with the deaf being the only one who doesn't. White inspects deaf's paper under the light, finding nothing. Black suggests using UV rays or X-rays. Blonde finds the emergency lighting and they decide to create an emergency to activate it since there are no switches in the room. They take the risk and break all the lights, causing the room to go dark. A blue emergency light turns on, prompting White to cheer with joy. While the others look for the question on the paper, Deaf is still unable to participate. Once again, they feel disappointed because they can't see the question. Dark proposes removing the first layer of the strip light, which is not illuminated, to potentially produce UV rays. They carefully break the strips and reveal another reddish light. Once more, they find themselves dealing with the annoyance of lights that don't work. The team is under pressure with only an hour left. White suggests brainstorming alternatives, while Brown jokes about making origami with the paper. And White realizes they can do anything to the disqualified candidate's paper. White tries to trace the paper with a pencil, but it doesn't work. He tears the paper into sections to test their reaction to liquid and instructs the others to wet the sections, while he urinates on one. But that doesn't work either. Def's outburst stops the tension between Black and White. He cries quietly before surprising everyone by speaking in French, saying the document represents their identity. The group continues brainstorming. Dismissing Def, Brown suggests they are pawns in a betting game set up by the company's board members, who are using the situation for their amusement. Dark questions the board members' priorities, suggesting they have more important matters to focus on. However, Brown argues that with their wealth, taking risks may be a common practice for them since it's their prime motivator. Dark confidently asserts that no one is watching them because the CEO is highly involved in the company, holding all the rights and power over everyone. She knows more about the company than anyone else. When Brown asks how she knows so much about the CEO, it turns out Dark works in HR but has never seen the CEO. She applied for a higher position and is now here. White then reveals he was recruited for the job, while the others say they applied for it. However, they all share a common trait. None of them know anything about the company or its operations because they were instructed not to ask any questions. Dark explains that they are applying for a position at Birog, a renowned multi-million-dollar pharmaceutical company. A few years ago, during a pandemic that affected young people worldwide, Birog was the first to find the cure. Black suddenly mentions that the company might have found a cure for the new deadly disease. Brunette's interest is piqued, and she starts asking Black for more details. This makes White suspicious, so he asks Brunette if she's also sick. She assures him that she's not, but her partner is, and she applied for the job because of the employee discounts for treatment. White warns her that she has jeopardized her chances of getting the job offer and is now as good as disqualified. Brunette silently takes a lighter from the guard, and with Black, suggests a plan claiming the room as a dark room and photographic papers. They hint at the potential release of photo-developing chemicals if the fire alarm is triggered. Brunette tests this theory with the lighter, and when she can't reach it, White hands her what seems to be the remaining disqualified candidate's paper. She lit it on fire and proceeded to add more reach with the paper. A liquid showers the room, The papers stay the same and they discover it's just water. Brunette notices her missing paper, unfolding the charge sheet to find it was hers. It turns out White had betrayed her. The guard drags her out as she angrily insults White and cries. Disappointed, Black rushes to White saying he should punch the lights out of him. Suddenly the lights go out and then they come to know the lights are voice activated. Then the group informs each other to be careful of what they say and do as well. Def cries again. White makes him tear up his paper, and he is escorted out. Black taunts White, who defends himself by saying he eliminated the competition. White claims to know the answer but won't share. Black punches White in rage. The group then secures him to a chair, gags him with a tie and votes for his dismissal from the test following Black proposing the idea. When it is a tie, Black decides to throw him out, and while trying to do so he gets interrupted by Blonde reminding him the rule said leaving the room by choice gets a candidate disqualified and what he is doing might not work. Moments later, White gains consciousness, and after his gag gets removed he asks for his medicine, which he claims should be taken every hour, which hints he is infected too. Then White loses unconsciousness as they refrain from finding his medicine unless he reveals the question. Mistrust grows in the room between the candidates, and Brown, who is suspicious of Black being a spy for the company, ties her to a chair with his belt and tortures her until he finds out she is telling the truth. As Dark is freed from her chair, White begins to experience seizures from the virus, and they search each other for the pill and manage to find it stuck to a chewing gum under Brown's table. They try to give it to White, but Brown throws it away into a drain system in the room. White's situation worsens as he bleeds from his nose. A stressed Dark asks the Invigilator for help standing in front of the camera, which gets her disqualified immediately. Now only 3 remaining. Blonde manages to take the pill out of the drainage and save White's life. With only 10 minutes left, Brown asks White the question he promised, and White reveals there was never a question in the first place. Not the way they expected it to be, at least. He explains the test itself to be the question and them to be the answers. Brown then remembers that the Invigilator made clear a question and a singular answer, not plural, implying just one of them is getting the job at the end. White then suddenly rushes towards the guard to acquire his gun and fails as Black pushes him over and takes the gun. Black proposes to stick together as a team since it's not clear how many positions are available, hoping they might all get a position if they figure the test out together. White replies. Black's idea is a fantasy and keeps getting closer to Black, claiming he won't shoot him. Then Black suddenly pulls the trigger to only find out that the gun doesn't work. White attacks Black and tries to take the gun. Brown gets in the way and White overpowers him and tries to use the gun. He learns the gun uses fingerprint recognition. White uses the guard and forces everyone to leave him alone as that would make him the winner. Brown leaves. Black shows some reluctance and Blonde volunteers to go as she claims she had it. While passing by Black, she secretly tells him to get ready, and as she reaches the door she stands still, allowing Black to gain the opportunity to get away. White's focus shifts to her, then suddenly yells, "Light out!" and runs, turning the room dark. White shoots as Black takes cover under the tables. White turns on the light and comes to know he has shot Black, causing him to die. White then looks around to find Blonde has a foot inside the room. As he is about to shoot her, the clock beeps, notifying him the time is over. White walks in front of the camera and announces he is the winner, prompting the guard to approach him and show him the time, revealing 20 seconds were left, meaning White gets disqualified. It turns out Def messed with the time when they were busy earlier. As the time ends, White tries committing suicide with the gun, forgetting it requires fingerprint identification, and then gets escorted out. Blonde, the only candidate who just narrowly avoided leaving the room, comes back in and picks up Def eyeglasses and broken pieces of glasses from the light bulbs earlier. She looks at her paper and sees question 1 written on it in miniature letters in white. As she does that, Def enters the room, revealing he is the CEO of the company, surprising her. He turns out to be the test that has been keeping an eye on them. Then she walks up to him and the Invigilator and tells them, no, referring to the only question asked of all candidates at the beginning. It turns out they were asked if they had any questions. Happy seeing that Blonde figured out the test, the Invigilator announces she is hired. She initially rejects the offer due to her belief that the organization is responsible for Black's death. However, the Invigilator reassures her that Black is alive and well. Upon checking, she discovers that he is breathing. The Invigilator reveals that the bullet was a healing capsule designed to promote rapid cell regeneration, part of a groundbreaking medicine they have developed. They emphasize the importance of a trustworthy administrator for this revolutionary discovery, as they have limited production and high demand for the medicine that the Invigilator calls the gift of life. Seeing Black regain consciousness, Blonde ultimately agrees to take on the job, and the movie concludes. With that, the movie ends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time.